Hello and welcome everybody to another collaborative discussion. Today I am on the blower with Priyanka Khandalkar, and we found we have a lot in common. So the topic of today's discussion is about the journey to our inner alignment. And what a beautiful way to start. Priyanka, I know I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell your story. I know Priyanka
Mhm.
started in engineering. I've got a background in law, and somehow we have found this meeting of the minds of becoming entrepreneurs. So, Priyanka, I'm going to hand it over to you. Would you like to tell us your story of moving from engineering into this beautiful spiritual space?
Yes, thank you so much for having me here, Dagmar. And thank you all for tuning in here. And I'm sure you will find something today that is going to spark. And that's what is our intention here.
It is.
So my journey started back in engineering. That's like normal route. Like your parents just give you two option as a like grown up in India. I grew up in India and then I came to do my masters in US in 2008. And so I did all my multiple masters, like what do we do, right? Just keep on getting all the degrees, Dagmar. And this was in my early 20s. So 20s, my identity was all about learning, right? Just learning and working in the corporate. And I worked in Fortune 500 companies like John Deere, Volkswagen, like all this furniture, the best furniture company, the best manufacturing companies, car manufacturing. Like I worked in all the places where I hardly saw any women. It used to be I will be the only one with a hard hat and like greasy hands, getting into things, getting into machines. So I always felt I was a leader in each of my role. And I was the best at everything, but I always felt hollow. I always felt incomplete. I always felt I do not belong there. I always felt there's more to me. So, this longing, this inquiry within me to finding myself has been there since I was childhood. My childhood was totally traumatic with everything from all kind of abuse, verbal abuse or sexual abuse. Like it was very traumatic childhood. Like everything you talk about in like childhood traumas, I went through all of it. So I always lived in my like this the whole 20s was like, okay, I have to figure out my own life. I have to stay in my own masculine energy. I have to work hard for myself because no one is coming to save me. So, and even all the masculines around me, I was always looking for validation from them. Like, if someone says, like, I did a good job, then that means I did a good job. That's my self worth. So, my self worth came from outside. So, that was my whole life in 20s. In 30s, I did a shift. I would say when I was at 35 years of age, I was like, okay, I have to do something about this inner inquiry that is coming up, that there's something out there and I need to take it out. So I joined couple of things. I started doing couple of different businesses on side hustle, like um, physical product business, like selling baby products, selling rustic furniture meets by temples, like old temples in India, and like selling it on Amazon. So I was doing all that as a side gig with my engineering, but still I felt there's a disconnect. And then I joined Tony Robbins community, and I joined as a coach there. No, I joined as a student, but in within a year, I was such a good student, I joined their coaching team. And so I was in their coaching team, coaching others to start their business and grow their business. And as I was doing it, someone noticed I'm so good at operations, project management, structures, systems. And when I did that, I was like, okay, I need to get curious about it. So I went out there, I got certification as director of operation. I left my corporate job and I started working as chief operating officer for small businesses, women business owners. So I was like, okay, I'm going to help women business owners. And my first client, since I left my corporate, within 30 days, I had my first client, Dagmar, which is so amazing. And since then, I have helped more than 1,200 businesses to scale and grow. I launched my podcast back in 2022. I launched it in 28 days after walking on fire at one of the Tony Robbins event. Like there's something happened within me and my throat chakra opened up. And then so my podcast launch, it became top 1% global. So all that shift came in, but I still felt I was still in my hustle energy. I was still in my masculine energy. I was still carrying that energy from always trying to work hard for everything, but still not getting results, still not able to find that inner contentment, inner fulfillment. And what happened in, I think I would say like 2022, 2023, something shifted in me. I started seeing all the angel numbers. I was in my spiritual awakening journey, like just like I was like put into that, like everything was taken away from me, like all my clients went away. Like you go into those dark night of souls, right, Dagmar? Everything is
Yeah.
removed, like anything you attach your status with or you mask with, right? Like whether it's success or money or it's your title, everything is taken away from you, and that's how divine works. And if anyone listener here, if you're going through hard times, no, this is your testing time and it is just temporary, because we all are going through it every moment, like because it's like an onion peel, it just peels one at a time. Divine do it one at a time. So I went through that, and then in last 2 3 years, I found my teacher Anna, and I hope Dagmar will interview her too. But I found her with such a magical way. I was praying for like, okay, what is happening with me? Because I was having all these different dreams, which was very grateful. I was seeing all kind of things, and then my teacher just came into my life. I was on a holiday, and there she was in one of the offices of hers. And I stepped into that. And with her, I started my spiritual awakening journey. And it was like a 6 to 1 year process for us, 6 months to 1 year process. And we worked with each of the chakras. And when I worked with my womb chakra, Dagmar, this is very interesting because that's where our creativity, our power lies as a woman. And that's where I felt impure because I had gone through the
Oh,
sexual abuse. I have blocked her. And I could not never understand. Like I start launch businesses, but why is it not scaling, growing, right? What was the cause? And it all came back to how I was treating my womb, right? And when I did that healing, I healed that part. Next day, my daughter was vomiting. She was purging because she carried that mother wound through me when she was birthed. I have an 8-year-old daughter. And after this spiritual awakening, I started seeing all the false mask everyone carries. And during that same time, I started my company, Synergy. And it's a agency, and we help heart-centered, soul-led entrepreneurs to scale and grow their company. So before I used to do that one-on-one, and then I started this Synergy. I have a team of 10. Now my team does all the execution. I do the strategy, which is my what do you call strength. And I really
your
guide,
superpower.
yeah, my strength and my power. And during the same time, as I was seeing the false mask, I was doing the spiritual awakening. I found the self-worth, self-validation from within me. And then I went through a divorce. I just got divorced in December without my signature, Dagmar. And then going through other things, visa situations and all that. But I know it's all supposed to work like that. So that's where I am, Dagmar, right now. And then we opened this place at Cannon Beach, Oregon coast, and it's a healing center. It's supposed to be a place where other comes in to connect with their soul purpose, soulmate, twin flames. Yeah.
Oh, Priyanka, I hear so many similarities in our stories. I mean, you talked about your mid-30s. Now, my ears started to really prick up because for me, I mean, I always had that spiritual side
Hmm.
at the back of me, as I'm sure that you did as well. But you go through life and you kind of bury it because you do your thing. You go to work and you just get on with life. And
Hmm.
I remember I studied law quite late. I was in my 30s when I was studying law, but the irony is my law buddy Anna, who's also an Anna, she actually said to me, Dagmar, would you like to learn tarot? And I
Mm.
nearly fell off the chair because this is my law buddy, right? Like I
Hmm.
never expected that. And it was interestingly enough, my I think she was about 8 years old. My 8-year-old daughter at the same time, or like only a week or 2 before, had said, "Mum, I'd like to learn how to play with the tarot cards." And I'm just
Mm.
thinking, "Oh my goodness, like, I gotta start really paying attention here."
Mhm.
And not only did Anna and I go to law school together, we also went through the tarot, and then I studied mediumship and hypnotherapy and all that
Wow.
stuff. But see, I was always in conflict
Mm.
because I was still in law, and it was that traditional upbringing
Mhm.
that I was going to a psychic saying, "I don't understand. I've got law here, I've got my spiritual side here. What am I supposed to follow?" And she just did the shrugged her shoulders sort of thing, as in like, "You gotta work it out."
Mhm.
And I did work it out, but it was like
Mhm.
I still remember it, Priyanka, as clearly as it was yesterday. And I was in my mid-30s by that time, and it was a Sunday morning over a cup of coffee. You know those mornings when it's peaceful and still, it's beautiful, nobody else is up yet, you're having a cup of coffee,
Mhm.
and I just knew like that I was done in law. Well,
Mhm.
I quit my job the next week. I quit my law school the next week. My poor dad was absolutely mortified
Mhm.
because what are you doing? Like, you're getting rid of all of the, everything you know. I know, I'm okay, Dad. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to be a psychic medium. I was like,
Mm.
what? Like, my poor dad. But he didn't understand that it
Mhm.
was that spiritual calling. And look, to be fair, I did have to go back to work for a while I built up my business. So for any of you listening or watching this, I don't recommend just ditching everything like I did, even though it was right for me. It's probably not the safest course of action.
Mhm.
But that spiritual calling, or whatever that calling is for you, it's calling you for a reason. It's telling you there's a deeper purpose for you still with this life.
Mhm.
You might still choose to go to work and do your job for a while. You might choose to give it up, whatever is that choice that's right for you. But ultimately, there is a purpose that is calling you to want you to fulfill that.
Mhm.
And like Priyanka, like you found, you're at a beautiful healing center now. I've got to come and visit you. Next time I'm in the US, I've got to come and visit. It sounds amazing. So we have that calling inside of us.
Mhm.
I guess, Priyanka, that tells me, well, that makes me think of the next question in terms of what would you say was that moment that you knew? I gave you my Sunday morning coffee
Mhm.
experience. Was there one defining moment for you?
Mhm. I would say it has been series of moments, Dagmar, because um things has just opened up for me. But if I have to say defining moment, so like same as your Anna, my Anna, I like what she tells me that we have she's like my teacher who comes back in my life in every like a million years back she was with me in different planet, kind of like aliens, we were aliens, like she comes back and we have been together doing this work, kind of a work. So she took me to Maui, Hawaii, and that's where I was
Oh,
500 years back. And she took me to those places where I used to do the healing work, like plant medicine. And that's what I'm bringing back into this lifetime, my ancient wisdom. And during those moments when I was going through each of those places, and she took me to this one waterfall. And she said, "You used to sit here as a chiefess." So I was a chiefess who brought the Maui together. Like and then I was with my chief, like my other twin flame, we used to do it together, bringing all this beautiful like helping to increase the positivity in the collective. And she asked me to walk to that waterfall, and she asked me to come out of that waterfall feeling like the royalty I am, and walk like the royalty, the queen I am on that land.
yeah.
And that moment was defining moment for me, because I truly felt I belong to this place, because I have been searching all my life, where do I belong? Like I was in India, but I still never felt belong to that land. I was in US, still could not feel belong to that land. When I went to Maui, there was this shift in my energy. There was this like knowing that I have been here, and knowing that like I did not even wanted to leave. I wanted to postpone my flight. So that was my defining moment to truly know my true inner wisdom, my ancient wisdom, which carries through my ancestor and who I was 500 years back. I would say that has been my defining moment because I have been trying to search for that my whole life.
That is beautiful. What an amazing awakening story. I love also how you talked about that plant thing. And I know from my own past life regressions that I've had that history as well. There was definitely there, should I say, there were definitely lifetimes when I call them potions,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's
Yeah.
the medicine of the plants. So I was definitely a healer, and it was the plant based healing as well that I know that I've got in that background. I mean, call me I don't think I was a chieftain or a priestess, but, I do know that I was involved with the plants. I also feel deeply connected to Delphi. Have
Mm.
you heard the story of Delphi?
Delphi as a company? Or,
Mm-mm.
oh, tell me.
Have a look at the picture behind me. Hold on.
Oh,
See
wow.
this?
Beautiful. Yeah.
So this is the priestess of Delphi,
Mm.
and Delphi is a place in
Oh,
Greece,
wow.
and if you have a look at the picture, they used to sit over these gases, these vapors that would come up
Mm.
out of the ground, and then they would do readings, if you like, for
Wow.
the important people
Mm-hmm.
in the community. And they talk about these gases coming up, which must have had some kind of a little bit of a euphoric kind of effect.
Yeah.
And I definitely resonate with that story. So, it's interesting when we look into our past, where that past
Mm-hmm.
has that resonance. Obviously, there's that deepness within both of us about having that
Yeah.
connection,
Yeah. And I
right? Absolutely.
totally, Dagmar. And I'm going to visit Greece now to find Delphi and more about her because there's something about me like goddesses. I want to learn all about different goddesses. And we have a temple here in Ashland, and it's called Temple of Goddesses. And
Wow.
it's the lady priestess there, Gail. She's wonderful. I was there like 2 years back because my journey also has been like really making my inner child happy. So I learned sacred temple dance with ballet dancing in last 2 years, and I performed on stages. And I was at the goddess temple, and I was the mother in the dance performance. And as I was going and walking, everyone felt my transmission through my hands and my movements, and like I'm sure they have goddess Delphi there too. So I'm going to truly going to visit that. But another thing I wanted to say, Dagmar, like that defining moment and before that everything that was happening with me, that also helped me to understand how I lead now. It's so different how I lead in my life and business and how I make decisions. So like it has been like it's like creating businesses, helping businesses, but it's more of like holistic way of doing it. Less
Yeah.
hustle, but more from alignment.
Yeah. And I agree too. I feel that within myself too. When you feel totally at peace and so comfortable with what you're doing, I love what I'm doing. I'm loving all the people that I get to connect with these collaborations and with my Angelic Footprints podcast. So it is all about that beautiful meeting of the minds. In terms of, let's talk about this for a sec too. I mean, we're
Mhm.
talking about having a business or being ourselves energetically aligned. If there was someone listening to this, our viewers and our listeners, what kind of advice would you give to someone about how can you stay aligned? Let's think about this because,
Mhm.
we're drawn from the outside world. There's all these competing energies. How can we stay aligned to who we have discovered that we really are?
Yeah, one of the things I always talk about is, and it is something I'm sure, Dagmar, you also felt, before I did not had any boundaries. I was a people pleaser. So now I have boundaries, and that is part of my embodied leadership. That having those boundaries when we are working with, because we are right now in attraction energy, right? Once we are in
Yeah.
alignment, your messaging, your truth starts coming out. And because of that, we start attracting people towards us. Of course, we will also attract broken people because they need to be healed, right? But we also
Yeah.
attract the people like clients whom we want to work with. But your alignment will attract, but your boundaries will protect it. So you still need to have boundaries around not burning yourself out, not getting overwhelmed, making sure you have that communication piece where you have boundaries, how you work, what feels right to you, because your business should always energize you, not drain you. Business or any decision you take in your life, right? I always talk about the three things. Is it protecting my peace, right? Is it profitable, right? And is it aligning with my purpose? So, three P's.
Oh,
So,
I like
yeah.
that. That's great.
So, I always make sure that I am doing that alignment piece when there's all these different noises. And I have my own daily ways to connect to my body, mind, soul, Dagmar. I make sure I'm doing that because whenever I feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or hollow inside me, that means I'm not doing my spiritual work, the daily spiritual work. And it doesn't even have to be spiritual. It's like I have found different ways. Like if I'm not eating sattvic food, sattvic is all yogic diet. It's
Hmm.
I have been doing it for since my awakening. I have been just eating sattvic diet, which is all Ayurvedic, yogic diet, and that makes me energized, calm, and composed. I don't even have bloating or like gas or anything like that comes so normally when we are eating all the processed food, right? So, like my body gives me signal when I'm not doing things right. If I'm tired, my body is telling me, am I working too much, right? Am I overworking? Am I not aligning with my truth, how I want to live my life daily? Do I have pauses in my day to relax, right? Or I'm just like working, 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 right? And I also align with my cycles,
Ah.
like my business, how I work. Like during my menstrual cycle, I'm really good at strategy because my energy is inward. So I focus on that. There is like next stage, which is follicular. That's where my energy is outward. So that's when I'm like more looking into not visibility. That comes in the next stage. The luteal stage is when I do lot of because that's where our energy is at the peak. So that's when I will do my webinars and trainings and going sales conversation. And then the last one is execution. That's when I do the admin work. So I see this. Like there was this day, like I was on my day 3 of menstrual cycle. I was super tired. I'm like, and I was supposed to do some admin work for business. And I was like, I could not even do it. I did some knitting. I did some telling my team what to do, like a lot of strategy stuff, but I could not do admin stuff. And then I went back to my cycles. Okay, what is my cycles telling me? This is supposed to be my strategy. So I'm not supposed to be doing admin stuff. So it's okay. Like having that awareness helps me how I run my business now. And it's more from
Mm.
alignment. It's more from understanding my cycles. It's more from understanding, am I feeling energized at this moment? Am I present at this moment? Am I intentional about what I'm
You
doing?
You know, you explained that so well about being in alignment with your cycles. I want to go back for a moment to the boundaries, and that's something that I teach my clients as well, because I've got something called the Divine Alignment Blueprint, which is
Mhm,
my signature system.
mhm,
And in that system, I teach my clients all about boundaries as well. And whether we're talking about having the boundaries in our business,
mhm,
also more importantly for ourselves and the kind of people that we
mhm,
have around us. I totally get what you're saying, Priyanka. It's about also acknowledging, yes, there are going to be needy people who come into our business,
mhm,
but I do want to emphasize that, in terms of boundaries, we really have to be careful. Are these the right people
mhm,
that we can really help, or are they going to suck all of our energy?
mhm.
And that's not a good thing for us. And this is where those
Yeah.
those boundaries come in. I think that's so important how you've put that. One of the things I also talk about, you talked about your cycles. I'm very conscious of being a morning person,
Yeah.
for example. Like, I can be super productive in the morning,
Mhm,
and then I need a little bit of a break around lunchtime, and then I'll get sort of like my second wind, but the morning person. So I definitely, like you, encourage people to pay attention to where they are at their peak. And if you need to, well, get out a journal, get out a diary, start tracking it over
Mhm.
the month
Mhm.
to see, what is going on with you. I think there's some wonderful tips that you've given us there.
Mhm.
Priyanka, in terms of people who might be at that stage who are, shall we say, on the precipice, there's another P,
Mhm.
on the precipice, they're living their life, they're not quite sure what their next steps are. They know that something's out of sorts, it's not quite right. What would you recommend might be a way for them to go forward? What might be their next steps?
Yeah, I always feel, Dagmar, and I'm sure you feel the same. We cannot have clarity if there's noises around us, right? So, first important thing is to find more inner alignment. What is distorting you? What is not helping you to find that silence within you, find that solitude? And for me, it was like really cutting off energies, really cutting off anything that is not energizing me, whether it's people, situation, uh, who should be in my environment, who should not be in my environment. So I think it's very important to find that solitude. It could be a walk, right? Like right now, I'm next to the ocean, so I can go for a 45, 1 hour, 2 hour walk. Just walk, and then for me, writing helps, right? A writing can, like we talk, like you're a morning person, Dagmar, you probably have heard about the morning pages. Like that's when divine is at the peak. Like you just woke
Yes.
up and you just take this A4 page and you start writing anything that is coming up without even thinking. But because that's when your angels, your guardian angels, they all are sitting with you and you are still in that midway, not fully awake, still asleep. So those could be your time, like when you have your solitude, but like, or going for a walk and then sitting down and putting everything that is coming up in your mind, that is your worries, limiting beliefs, everything, writing it down, because writing is a therapy by our, like it's a therapy, like you work with yourself, you write it and then you write, okay, what are the pieces here which feels negative, okay, what can we do to shift it, right? It could be a simple shift. Like me right now sitting here, if I feel I'm not 100% present here, Dagmar, my shift would be just sit straight on my chair and I feel fully present, right? So that
Exactly.
shift doesn't have to be drastic shift, like I have to go for a 2 hours meditation or something. It could be a very simple shift that you consciously make a decision and you do it. So fully getting, like really understanding like that, like having that kind of a process, because for me purpose needs both soul and structure, and a structure could be writing every day, right? And getting starting processing whatever is coming up, because we have millions of thoughts going on, millions of noises and distraction, but you need to have a place where you can sit down, you can calm yourself, maybe have a tea, maybe have all these different seeds you are supposed to have, which helps with our cycles. There's certain seeds you are supposed to have, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, like because I'm into all this plant medicine, I could create recipes, I have those every day to keep everything balanced in my hormones. There's so many different things that goes as a woman, right? We need to find that proper balance, whether it's with our diet that keeps our body fully aligned, and even exercising, workout, yoga, whatever you want to do, keep your body in movement, because that also helps to release the toxins in your field, right? So
It
so
does.
for me, it's all about release of any unwanted things, and then amplifying what's supposed to stay, right? So release by writing, release by exercising, release by eating right, so all the toxins can go out, right? And then, so I would say that will help you to come into that state where the clarity will come, because for me, clarity comes when I surrender. When I do that work I'm supposed to do to be in body, mind, soul, I put that effort and then I surrender to the divine, and divine will help me bring the clarity. Maybe by conversation like this, you listen on YouTube, or maybe you see a signal, right? A sign, an angel sign, or it could be any way, but you need to be out there looking for those signs and ask for those signs. Pray. Praying is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how you've put that together with the release. One of the things I would add to that is that sometimes these processes take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Like, it may not be an instant shift like that. I know for me, it took some time to come to that realization that, okay, this was no longer working and this is where I need to be. I
Mhm.
instinctively knew it, but then it took some time. And when you come to that releasing, whether you're journaling, whether you're asking for signs, whatever, if all of a sudden you're discovering that your relationships with certain people around you aren't right, well, it might not be the kind of thing that you can get out of
Yeah.
immediately. And how can you do that delicately?
Mhm.
If the job that is no longer right for you, well, what are you going to do for money? So there is obviously a practical application around
Yes.
this as well.
Mhm.
What I get my clients is to do is to create a list and have both sides. So on one side, it's okay, what do you want to release? What do you want to get rid of? And on the other side, it's okay, well, what do you want to bring in and how do you want to do that? So you've got a little bit of that balance. I
Oh, I
love
love I love
whichever
that.
technique
Yeah.
yeah, whichever technique works for you,
Mhm.
whether it's Priyanka's, whether it's mine, there is no right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's whatever works for you. And, taking that time for that introspection, I think, as you've nicely pointed out, that is our great starting point. Priyanka, it's been such an absolute pleasure having this discussion with you. For all our viewers and listeners, we really hope that this has been beneficial for you. Priyanka, are there any thoughts that you would like to leave the show with? What might be what you would like to finish off with today?
Yeah, actually, Dagmar, as you were saying it, I actually have a gift for everyone. Um, it's a SOP guide. No, it's oh, I forgot the name now. SOP. Like, I will send you the link, Dagmar, if you can put it in the show notes. It actually helps.
Definitely.
It's a workbook. So it's like a playbook and a workbook, and it actually does that same thing what you were just saying. Like, you write down what energizes you, what drains you, and you create a plan and a structure around it. So like it helps you to like either delegate it, delete it, or automate it. So there are like three different things. It's more like a business way of doing things, like list down all the different tasks, like audit your life, right? And then all the things you're doing, and then what energizes you, what drains you. What drains you can be either deleted, delegated to someone to do it. Like, let's say, like cleaning house, you can delegate it to a maid if possible, right? Delete it. Maybe you're watching TV, it's not needed, it drains you, right? And automated, maybe you are paying those credit card bills by manually calling them, you can automate that, right? So yeah, like those are the different like that can also help you. It's called sopplaybook.com, but I forgot the name, so I will send you that link, Dagmar, so if you can put it in the show notes.
Oh, definitely. Well, we'll make sure that we have all our details on the YouTube channel so that you can get in touch with both of us. Thank you so much for sharing that. My gift to all of you is that I have created a school community that's SKOOL, and it's the Connecting with Your Angels community. And on there is a free course on how you can connect with your angels. And I will be sure to put that into the link as well. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for being part of the collaboration. Priyanka, thank you so much for being a part of this, for gifting your time and your beautiful wisdom and knowledge. It's been such a pleasure, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody,
Thank you.
for listening.